Let's talk about 3 technologies that should be advancing us, making us better, but I think have taken us a step backwards. That's my discussion points for this morning. So if you give me a couple of minutes, let's run through the 3 of these. Number 1, job recruiting, specifically LinkedIn. Now, as someone currently unemployed, having searched LinkedIn and have had a profile for some time, I think this technology has slipped into a major decline. And let me give you some examples. So, first of all, LinkedIn was started in 2002. The concept was simple: a platform to allow you as an employee or a business to network. That was the goal. Guess a little bit like Facebook. But what it's descended into now is simply a platform that's full of a new style of influencer, the job market influencer. You go onto LinkedIn now and it's filled with people posting motivational stories, posting commentary, huge blogs about their successful career, and it's mind-blowing. But let's dive a little bit deeper into this. Now, when it comes to job advertising, LinkedIn is considered one of the go-to markets. The challenge with this is that it has created a trend now of ghost job advertising. And what this means is that positions are created with the view that there is a real job attached to it, when in fact, companies, organisations and recruiters are simply content or data farming. Yes, that really happens. Now, a second part about the job application process is that so few of it, in fact, almost none of it, is seen by the human eyes. It's all AI regulated. In fact, many of the actual job recruiters aren't even real people. It's AI. There was a study carried out recently that looked at a whole raft of different recruiters on the platform and looked at their profile pictures and analysed it to see if it was a real person or not, and was proven that it wasn't. So let me give you a couple of quick statistics about LinkedIn and the job advertising process. Now, probably one that is important, but spelling, that is really key to your CV. 80% of recruiters confirmed that they would decline a CV if it had any spelling mistakes on it. 68% of hiring managers said they would reject a CV if it had a formatting issue on it. So we live in a wild world where just applying for a job is an incredibly technical process where you need to have your CV as crisp and clean as humanly or AI possible. Otherwise, you're not getting a look in. And when I compare that to the days of old, you know, the jobs that I've got or recommendations that I've received from just other people that you've worked with, that was always my go-to route. If I was considering a new position, I would reach out to friends or colleagues and ask them if there was anything happening at their organisations, and the recommendation was the way. But we now live in a world where AI dominates all. So the job market for me, LinkedIn, the fact that it's a subscription service that you need to pay to unlock features, don't even get me started on that. But let me know in the comments down below, what's your experience like on the LinkedIn platform? Are you one of these people that posts all the, hey, life is awesome, just another dawning day, the sun's in the sky, these kind of posts, right? Tell me about it. Number 2, and this one is about our content, our media. Specifically, let's focus in on TV and movies, and even more direct, Netflix. Now, Netflix, when it came along, originally was a postal service. You would hire a DVD, they would ship it to your house, and you would watch it and then return it. A step up from the likes of Blockbuster Video, where you actually went to the store. But we'll come back to that in a minute. But for Netflix, it started out as a postal service and then transitioned to digital content. Now, this is considered as a groundbreaking decision by the business. It really saved the company from going under from that original format of postal. And now we've kind of assumed it in our lives. It's built into our smart TVs and our phones that you're able to consume this content. But like all things over the years, the service and functionality has changed. The original subscription costs have increased almost annually. The quality of the content has declined. And when I look at some of the statistics on it, let me give you here. In 2016, a study that was carried out confirmed that users took an average of 17.8 minutes to make a decision. So let's round that up. I worked in sales, so I'm used to rounding things up. That means that people on average took just under 20 minutes to pick something that they wanted to watch. And in 2022 survey indicated that individuals spend around 24 minutes and 24 seconds each week deciding on what they'll watch. And annually, it looked like 45 hours were spent just choosing what to watch. So, are we in a better place thanks to Netflix? What I would say about this is, when it all started, Netflix was kind of the go-to subscription service. But where are we at now? Well, now we've got Amazon Prime. Now we've got HBO. Now we've got ITV that's got a subscription to remove the adverts, even Channel 4. So are we in a better place? I don't think so. And here's the nostalgia part for me about content consumption. My very first introduction to movies was going down to the local video store. I can remember when my dad came home with our first ever video recorder. And for those that are around my age, 40s, and for you that are a few years older, you'll remember the decision that you had to make, which was VHS or Betamax. What did you pick? I can tell you, we went Betamax. Oh, the loser of the two, right? That was the one that went out of business. I can remember going into the local video store with my dad, maybe on a Sunday afternoon, to get that evening's movie. And we would go into the shop and it was split into two. One side was the VHS, which always seemed to have the greatest films, and the other side was Beta, which was almost always out of the good films. But a few years later from all of that, my older sister, she ended up working in a video store in our hometown. And oh, the excitement when she would come home with a couple of tapes for us to watch. All the absolute 80s classics. Romancing the Stone, Top Gun, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. All of that. I mean, my mind goes blank. But tell me below, what's your favourite films from that era? I'd love to hear about it. So when I sit now and I look at Netflix, oh, it's so soulless. The content is rough, the search functionality is rough, and we're being driven by an algorithm, always by an algorithm. Whether it's music, whether it's what you're looking at online, or just your movie selection, it's being dictated to you. We've lost the ability to just go and browse and judge something by its cover. Crazy. As a slight side to all of that, I actually, through the lockdown period, went back to normal content. What I mean by that is, I started to just buy a couple of DVDs. Yvonne and I, we actually decided that we would have a weekly date night, and on a rotation basis, either she would pick the movie or I would pick the movie. And the only stipulation was, it had to be a stone cold classic. And we would get it on Blu-ray and watch it on a physical DVD player. And my reasoning for that was, it was a fun process, because the two of us had to go and find the films, had to think about it, try and surprise the other person, and then we'd sit down that evening, watch the movie and enjoy it. And also, where that was really driven from when you look at platforms like Netflix and Disney, they can be pretty harsh on the editing and also just making sure that anything that needs to be censored for your delicate little eyes is done. And I want to see the movie as it was intended. So tell me your stories down below. And here is technology advancement number 3. One that's a little bit close to my heart because I have worked in this industry for quite some years. But let's talk about smart technology. And by smart, it can mean so many different things. You've got smart speakers where you've got an Alexa or Google or whatever in your household. Maybe if you've got one of these things. I don't. Not a fan of them. You might have a smart watch. You might have smart heating, smart lighting. The question is it truly smart? And where I've brought this up from was actually just a very recent interaction between Yvonne and I. As I mentioned, I worked in this sector for quite some time. My house is filled with a lot of it, and my experiences are very mixed. The example that I want to give you is my smart lighting. I have light bulbs around the house that you can change the colours and all of that kind of exciting stuff, right? Which is really gimmicky when you first get it. Very quickly wears off. But where it is handy, when it works, is that we have some sensors around the house. So if we get up in the middle of the night, we go into the hall, the light just comes on and we can move around and then it goes off again a few minutes later or seconds later. And it comes on at a really low brightness as we've set within the app. But where it gets funny is that it just randomly comes on. And that might happen when we're at home or when we're away from home. And last night's example to give you was that Yvonne popped downstairs from the bedroom to the kitchen. The lights didn't come on with the sensors. I ended up manually turning them on. She comes back, we're sitting, I turn all the lights out. 5 minutes later, the lights come back on. And we have a running joke in our house that either we've got a poltergeist, classic horror movie, or the technology just doesn't quite live up to our expectations. And I'll let you decide which one it is. But this is just another example of how we're supposed to be making our lives better, and it hasn't quite got there. Now let me finish up on one more on this point. I use a smartwatch. Let me spin this camera around. Here is my smartwatch. I won't tell you the brand. I've had this thing for about 18 months and it's worked well, tracks my steps, but I've just turned it on and as you've seen, the screen has not come on because the backlight has gone faulty. So it's outside the warranty date. It was about £250 and I'm now left with this on my wrist. Well, it won't be on my wrist once I finish this video. But this was tracking my steps and my heart rate and turned my whole life into a game. And I've swapped it out for this Timex bad boy. And where did I get this? It was my father's. This was my dad's day-to-day watch. And it's a classic. He's had it pretty much as long as I could remember. And it's never missed a beat. I've never had to wind it up or do anything with it. It just works. And so I'm swapping out my smart tech for my dad's old watch just to remind me that every day doesn't have to be a game of steps. I've mentioned 3 here in this video. I could go on forever. Maybe we'll do a follow-up. Again, I'd love to even just talk about cars, and I think you know where I'm going with that, right? So, thank you for watching today's video. Let me know down in the comments, what's your experience like with LinkedIn, with your media content, or just smart products as a whole? And if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Enjoy yourselves. Good morning. Up, you coming out? All right. I know, here you go. Listen to that noise, that's the enjoyment, right? Like snot. Look at who's coming. Big slow walk down the path, look. These are all very well behaved. That's it.